We are in Unit 1B. So not quite done with Unit 1 because it's still geometry, but we're going to switch it a little bit. We're in Unit 1B. We're going to call this area. What is area? So we did all of this stuff yesterday so that we could come up with a good definition for area. What did we do yesterday with all those rectangles and squares? What were we trying to find when we found the area? Let's first talk about the units. What did we find? What were the units? Yeah, we're going to find square units. So the first thing that we need to know, in area, the units are always squared. So if it happens to be an inch, it will be inch what? Squared. If it's a meter, it's going to be meters squared. 8th grade just did laws of exponents, and they would understand why. You guys don't have the rules of exponents yet. There is a reason why. Okay, it's not just because, but a meter times a meter becomes meters squared. X times x is x squared. Meter times a meter is meter squared. But that's how we talk about the units. Well, what is area? What were we finding the units of?
Square.
Okay, and a rectangle. What were we doing though? Were we finding the outside edge? Oh, we were finding the space inside. So area is the measurement of the flat surface in squared units. And an example could be inches squared, centimeters squared, meters squared. I base all of our area off of a rectangle. We will start with a rectangle and then carry on from there. You should know what the area of a rectangle is. But we're going to say area equals A. So anytime you see a capital A, we know that's standing for what? For area. Bless you. Ew, ew, ew. Big old piece of hair right there. Was it yours? That'd be nasty. Okay. So, let's look at a rectangle. And depending on the book or the teacher, you might see area of a rectangle look a little bit different. What two sides do we have in a rectangle? What would we call the smaller side? Starts with a W. Don't all shout at once. Carly.
Width.
The width. So we could call this smaller side W, because W stands for width. What do we call the longer side? The length. And we use a cursive L. Okay, it's a cursive L. The formula, which you told me yesterday. How am I going to find area of a rectangle now that we have these letters? Taylor? Very good. To find the area of a rectangle, it's L times W, length times width. We do not want to use an X anymore because you're going to see lots and lots of variables. Now, this is the more common way to see a rectangle. This is absolutely the more common way to see a rectangle. Or, And this is the way that I want to show you because it will help lead us into everything else. What makes it a rectangle? Bless you. What makes it a rectangle? I need more hands. What makes this shape a rectangle? I need more than 3 hands. Come on. We've all just tested on this. What makes it a rectangle? Luke.
It has the 4 squares in it.
What are those squares?
90-degree.
They're 90-degree angles. What do we call it when one segment meets another segment at a 90-degree angle? Lydia. They are perpendicular. When we have a perpendicular segment and a perpendicular segment, we can call them something else. Where the perpendicular segment meets, we can call one side the height. We can call one side the base. Now over here, I'm going to put L equals length. I'm going to put W equals width. The figure still looks the same, right? But notice I only wrote one H and one B. Okay? The height and the base are only where it's perpendicular. Perpendicular means that it's forming that 90-degree angle. Everybody with me still? Okay? So HB. How would I write the formula for this one? Nemo?
H times 2 times 2 times 2?
Not quite. We're trying to find the area, not the perimeter. The perimeter would be H times 2 plus B times 2. How do we find just the inside? Leighton?
H times B.
Yeah, just height times base. And then we're going to put over here, what is H? H is the height. B is the base. They're the same formula. But as we move on, Monday, you'll be hearing the words height and base. We won't be talking about length and width. This is for a rectangle. Here's my question. Is a square a rectangle?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, a square is always a rectangle. So even if a square has all the same sides, could we still use length times width? Sure. If it's a 2 by 2, we could still do 2 times 2. Could we still do height times base? Well, sure. If I have this square, do I have perpendicular sides? Sure. So let's say this is 2, which means this is 2, this is 2, this is 2. To do this problem, I would say area equals 2 inches times 2 inches. Area then equals, what's 2 times 2? 4. Can I leave it like that? Is that my answer? What do I have to put to make this answer correct? Izzy? If you put 4 inches, I would mark it
Wrong.
wrong. Why? Yeah, so it's 4 inches squared. Notice I don't put a squared on the 4, just on the unit. Everybody with me? That's our day for area. That's it for now. We're going to do a couple practice problems, and then you're going to have more practice problems, and then you're going to have more practice problems, because we're done in like 4 minutes.